All right, today we're jumping into a classic 19th century poem by Leigh Hunt called The Glove and the Lions. Now, it's a quick story set way back in a world of kings and knights, but you'll see pretty fast that the problem at its heart feels, well, surprisingly familiar. And that really brings us to the core question of the whole thing. At what point does testing someone's love stop being about love at all and start being about ego, about vanity? It's a question that hits just as hard today as it did back then, so let's keep it in mind as we get into the story. So let's set the scene. The poem itself is from 1836, but it takes us back to a medieval court. And you have to understand, in that world, things like chivalry and courtly love, they weren't just nice ideas. They were basically a social rulebook. Men were pretty much expected to perform these huge, grand gestures to prove their valor and win a lady's affection. The story kicks off at the court of King Francis. And this is not some stuffy, quiet royal gathering. Oh no, the entertainment of the day is something way more intense, a lion fight. So who's watching this whole thing go down? Well, you've got the hardy King Francis, you've got his nobles, and all the ladies looking on in their finest clothes. And in that crowd is our main character, Count de Lorge, who is just completely smitten with one of these ladies. And all of them are gathered to watch two huge lions just go at it down in the arena.
And the poem does not hold back on the details. The lions are described with these horrid laughing jaws. What an image, right? Their strikes are so powerful, they're like hitting someone with a wooden beam. The whole scene is just pure, raw violence, all for the court's entertainment.
So as he's watching this, King Francis makes this kind of witty, offhand comment to his court. He says, "Faith, gentlemen, we are better here than there." You know, basically, glad it's them and not us. It's a simple little joke, but that one comment is about to spark a really, really bad idea. Because the lady that Count de Lorge is in love with, she overhears the king. And for her, this isn't just a funny comment. It's an idea. It's an opportunity. And this is where we see the two characters go in completely opposite directions. You have the Count, who seems to be driven by real, genuine romantic feelings, and then you have the lady who immediately sees this incredibly dangerous situation and thinks, how can I use this for my own benefit? And the poem gives us a little peek into her thought process. She's not thinking about his safety. She's thinking, he would do anything for me, and if he does this amazing thing, the glory will be mine. It's not about his love for her, it's about her reputation, her ego. So what exactly is she taking advantage of here? It's that code of chivalry. This was a heavy expectation that a knight had to perform these grand, often life-threatening acts to prove he was worthy of a lady's love. She knows he's trapped by that social pressure, and she decides to use it against him. So with that thought in her mind, she kicks her plan into gear. The whole court is about to see a so-called test of love that really has nothing to do with love at all. The action itself is so simple, but so deliberate. She just lets her glove fall from her hand right down into the middle of the lion pit. Then she turns to Count de Lorge, and she smiles. And you just know that's not a loving smile. It's a challenge, a very public dare. And his response is just as simple and just as clear. He bows his head. Not a single word is said between them, but the message is loud and clear. He's heard the challenge, and in front of everyone, he accepts. And then, without even hesitating, he does the unthinkable. He jumps right out of the stands and into the pit with those furious lions. It's an act of insane bravery, sure, but it's all because of a foolish, dangerous dare. Thankfully, the Count is as fast as he is brave. The poem really stresses how quick he was. He was in and out of there before the lions even knew what was happening. He snatches the glove, gets back to his seat totally unharmed. The test has been passed. So now, everyone's expecting this big romantic moment. He did it. He proved his love, right? Wrong. The Count has a surprise of his own, and it's the twist that makes this poem so unforgettable. So the key thing is, he has the glove, he's back in his seat, the crowd's watching, the lady is watching, probably expecting him to present it to her like a trophy. But instead of some tender moment, he throws the glove right in her face. And that's the climax. It is a stunning public rejection. He's not rewarding her cruel game. He's punishing her for it. In that moment, his love has just curdled into disgust. So how does the court react to this insane insult? Well, the highest authority there, King Francis, he steps in to have the final say.
And the king, he totally gets it. He saw what was really going on. It wasn't about love. It was about vanity. That selfish need for attention, for personal glory. That's the flaw he sees in her. The king stands up and basically delivers the moral of the whole story. He says, "No love, but vanity, sets love a task like that." And with that one sentence, he sides with the count, he validates his anger, and he condemns the lady's manipulative test. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, first, true love shouldn't require life-threatening stunts as proof. Second, and this is the big one, when an action is all about public validation, it's not love, it's vanity. And finally, the poem really pushes back on that toxic idea that men have to perform these big macho deeds to prove their feelings. And that brings us right back to our world today. In an age of viral proposals and relationship goals hashtags, that line between genuine affection and just performing for an audience can get really blurry. So the poem leaves us with a question that's more relevant than ever. How do we show our love authentically without turning it into a spectacle for everyone else? It's definitely something to think about.